went by quickly this morning. We got it. Here we are. It is December 9th, Thursday. It's so great to be here with all of you. I see some wonderful faces. I love the consistency, Ruth. I love seeing you here. I'm so proud of you. This is great. Consistency is key, and showing up time and time again. That's what it's about. And of course, we have our other members that are consistent, but Ruth just joined. So, and welcome. And Chukwemeka, our wonderful friend from the UK. We're super happy you're here with us. Eddie's in the house. Great to have you here, Eddie. Jay and Ron and Alex here. Great to see you, Alec. Arlene, Catherine, and Deborah. We got Galaxy A11. If you want me to know your name, you can click on that and just change it. Janice and Jay and Joseph and Justin. Madame Sarcastic Rabbit is here. I love having you here. Nadea's here. Orphea, Patricia, Patty. Speaking of Patricia, I miss Patricia. I don't know where she is. Patty. I know it's, we feel you when you're not gone. We sense that lack of presence. Rebecca's here. Welcome, Rebecca. And Rima and Sarah and Scott. Both the Scotts are here in the house. Great to have you here. Sibu's here. Early morning. Sky's here. Welcome, Sky. Thomas and Timeta and Zita and many, many others are joining as we kind of have this opening part here. I want to say to our new members, welcome. These calls are all about the mindset. So we present different topics each time and just have an open, honest discussion. There are no wrong answers ever, we want to hear it all. So we want you to feel free and excited to share your opinion, your thoughts, your life experiences with the group. That's why, I can really sense when some of the members that are consistently here, they're gone. We consider ourselves an extended family. And I will point out here in the beginning, I also mention it, and at the end, that we've become so, family-like that even at the end of these calls, there is help. So if you are struggling with something in your business and you'd like to receive some assistance from some of the students, they're doing that out of the kindness of their heart, and they've started this. So I will, once I end this meeting, you can hop right back on, and students there are helping out each other, and it's a beautiful thing. So, for today, I taught this class yesterday, and I presented this quote, and this is going to be interesting because sometimes I'm going to copy it if I need to send it twice into the chat, because students kind of come on as we go along. So here's this quote here, and I'm going to read it out. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. My reaction to you is an awareness of me. It was a very interesting class because this really hit home for a lot of students, and I was contacted, and really it was like, wow. And I want us to spend some time, right, Rebecca, right? I want us to spend some time, we're going to break it up into two parts and just kind of looking deeply into this idea. So the first part is your perception of me is a reflection of you. And it's so interesting, right? Because we have, and especially now, holiday times, where we're gathering with friends and loved ones and family, and we might have these background stories or ideas or thoughts, right, that around a certain family member or a certain person or anyone that is coming into your life. And I'm taking it into relationships first, and then we can kind of rally it back into our business to understand it. But we all have these kind of set stories that just kind of play on repeat in our mind, and we're really sure we've submitted our case, and we've brought all the evidence to back us up on what we're thinking about this specific person or idea or something that's happening, and the judge has put his stamp on it, and maybe we've gathered some friends and they all approve, and it's like, yes, we are just in this idea and this thought, and we really hold on to that. It can really kind of fuel us in a way, where we're just kind of, we have this perception of someone and we're sure of it. We've got it. And when you look at this quote, it says, your perception of me is a reflection of you. How interesting is that? So that means that what we've chosen to single out in this individual is actually something that we don't approve of in ourselves. That medicine, that idea is sometimes really hard to swallow, because we're like, no, I'm so far I'm so far away from that. I can't even relate. I don't even know how that person operates on that frequency. Like, what is going on? Do they really need to attend the event? Like, what's going on? Do we have to make this phone call? Whatever it is, right? I'm kind of giving examples. And but when you quiet yourself for a minute and all this chatter and all the cases and all the pleas and everything that you've written out in this specific occurrence, you might find that you have a similar tendency. Maybe it's not to that extreme as you're kind of finding in this specific person, but to a degree. And when you're able to acknowledge that and see it, it's like, oh man, really? Is it really my, let's give it an example so we can make it a little bit more tangible. Let's say you have this family member, friend, whoever, who just doesn't do anything. They're like not progressing, not doing anything, or spending time on something that you don't approve of, whatever, right? And you make this whole case of, wow, they're, when they come over, they don't do this. When we meet up, they don't do that. And you're just kind of pleading all the things that they don't do. When you quiet yourself with that idea, you might see that you perhaps might have a tendency to not take action where needed. So now we can rally that back into our business and say, it's so easy to blame Amazon and Etsy and the government and the internet and the storms and, whoever it is may be, or not understanding, or the lack of, or the presence of. But what is it in ourselves that is calling out our attention to that specific thing that you're mad about or that you don't approve of? Can you find that inner space where, and I'm not saying that this is an easy task to do, because some of those claims, I mean, they're backed up by so many others. Like, you have this, legion of people that have backed you up on your opinion, and you've filed all the things and that you're right. However, I challenge you today that maybe in this smaller space, or this, more quieter venue where you kind of sit with yourself and you just observe and see, maybe there is that tendency within you that causes you to be so, and here's the second part of it, so reactful, I don't know if that's a word, but like having this strong reaction to this person, this action, this occurrence, whatever it may be. So now we move on to this second part of this idea. My reaction to you is an awareness of me. What is causing you to react in such an emotional way? So, it's oftentimes those ones that we really get caught up on and we're really like frustrated about, and not, why is that specific reaction being evoked in you? Like, what is it? And when you're able to use these reactions as a gauge, as a flashlight, as a highlighter for you, your own personal exploration and experience is enlightened, if we can say. Like, it's like on a, if you have you're on a treasure hunt and you get a clue, right? And it's like, oh, that's the clue. That's what I'm actually about. That's what I'm actually looking. Because let's, for instance, say, Chukwemeka and I, we met up in some place and something happened. And he had one specific reaction to something, and I had one specific reaction to something, or, let's say the same occurrence, right? We don't necessarily have to react the same way. Let's say somebody presented an idea and Chukwemeka was like, yes, that's brilliant. Let's go for it. Let's take it. And I was like, ooh, why are you bringing this idea to me now? I'm going to put it, I see so many new members join. So we're talking about this quote here. Why are you shoving this idea on me right now? I don't see it happening. I don't want to participate. I don't want to do it. But Chukwemeka's like, yeah. And so my reaction to it is a reflection of perhaps, I don't know, me doubting this specific process or offering, me not willing to participate, where Chukwemeka's like, yes, let's take it. Let's go. This is a fantastic idea and I'm ready for it. And so, and I will just say here, as I wrote this in the chat again, I did look up the origin of this quote, and it doesn't have a specific origin. Like, a lot of coaches claim to this specific quote. So I'm not going to try to assume I know where it comes from, but this is something that I have been revisiting and looking at Uh, thank you, Joan. It's right. I do speak with my hands always. Anyway, so I'm not linking this specific quote to someone specific. So, I just wanted to put that out there because I do like to reference. Thanks, Scott. And so, yeah, let's kind of wrap it all in and tie it into this business. So now let's say someone, let's say Anne here, she's right next to Chikwameka on the screen, right? So Anne is like, man, every time I'm sitting in front of my computer, I can't figure it out. This is so hard. Da 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 da. This is the story, the narrative that's playing in Anne's mind. And I know it's not true, Anne. We know that you're super motivated and inspired. So I know I'm just using you as an example. And Ron here who is right next to you on my screen. Ron is like, wow, I got this down to a science. It's going so quickly. I've got it down. I can just navigate through this whole system real easy. And it's interesting because both Anne and Ron are looking at the exact same content and video, but the experience is different. And so the reflection back on each individual is eye-opening, is enlightening. And so perhaps Ron is approaching with a more positive attitude or just kind of easygoing, navigating his life. Whereas Anne is just kind of like, wow, things are just hard, right? And I'm just giving an example. Sorry, Anne, I love you dearly. We've been together for a while, so I can call you out here for an example. It's easier if we do give examples and we can learn how to apply this. And then, for instance, let's say Anne again gets really upset at, because we're saying your perception of me is a reflection of you. And she gets really angry at how this is going. And it's like, okay, well, what is it in this instance that is aggravating you? What is it that, within you that you can reinforce? And, give yourself that support that you need so that the next time you sit down in front of your computer to create these mock-ups and to create these mugs, you have more of Ron's positive, interaction. And it's like, yeah, I know I've got this. I can do it. I know that last week she said, now I'll share. Last week she said, I know these mitten sells. I know they sell. No matter what, I'm making them. I know they sell and it's going to be great. So that would be, a positive aspect of that. So I was just using that as an example, but look at how we can take this quote, take this idea and relate it to all the things in our lifetime. So I started out with a relationship. We can take this on to driving, right? This is one that everyone can relate to. When we're driving on the road, if somebody cuts you off, what is your reaction to that and why? Right? What really makes you be angry or speak in a certain way, or maybe not angry at all? And you're like, oh, well, I should be driving a little bit slower to allow the man to pass or something, I don't know. And it's just really interesting to be able to observe these areas in our lifetime, especially now, especially with the holidays so close and everything is so hyper, I guess, really, intensified. And not only in our business world, but also everyone's shopping, everyone's buying gifts, everyone's kind of consuming, but also in these family gatherings and in these meetups, where we're meeting up with family and friends, and perhaps you've been invited to so many different events. I shared with you before that I celebrate Hanukkah. So it was, invitation after invitation after invitation for each one. And it's just an interesting opportunity to be able to observe ourselves in these different aspects, in these different areas, and these different occurrences and offerings, because each meetup, even these, right? These are an opportunity for ourselves to grow, to expand, to learn, to be able to reflect. And nobody's going to do this for us, right? Nobody can look internal. And if they would, we probably wouldn't receive it very well. I'd be like, what? Why? What do you have to say here? But we can internally reflect on how we are interacting with the world, and in turn, learn more about how we can progress, how we can refine, even navigating this, especially navigating this low-hanging system, taking upon us this new business, perhaps for some less new, but this business, this avenue, this income stream, in order to create the results that we want, the goals that we've set for ourselves. So yeah, so this is kind of where I wanted us to spend our time. And here, Prima's here from Uganda. Yay! Welcome, Prima Donna. You made it. I love it. I'm gonna put this in the chat again so that you all know what we're talking about. And I'll say it out loud again. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. Deborah's already, yeah, I missed you, Deborah. Your perception of me is a reflection of you. My reaction to you is an awareness of me. And I want to say, if you do not agree, come up and say it. Maybe you don't think that this is right. It's fine. We're open to all opinions. If you have something to share, to reflect upon, to offer to the group, I'd love to hear it. Always love to hear from all of you. Especially those that speak all the time. It is wonderful. We wait to hear from you. And I also want to say, I'll wrap it up at the end and tell you about the assistance that is here at the end of this call. So stay tuned. Deborah, where have you been?
I've been here and there, but if I can't get you here, I try to get you in my car.
Okay.
This is a very good quote to reflect on. I'm putting in there, and I had to look up the definitions. I was writing and everything else, and I make sure we're not projecting and when we're using the definition. But I think what the LHS, low hanging system, if you are new, which I am fairly, I'll still say new in the process, I think by low hanging, I think we interpret that as easy. It's going to be simple. And it is a great thing that we're having. I have attended these sessions. I haven't gone online to listen to one or two I've missed, and I will do so more. I think we need to understand that as I have understand that we take and participate in these sessions here, that we find out by listening to everybody's or others that they're going through this process, that it is not actually on the ground or low hanging. It is some work you have to put in there. And also to expect, what I've also learned, expect some interference, some pitfalls, some disappointments, and not to get yourself flustered or bent out of shape because of it, because it can be corrected. And this is what I have learned just by attending the sessions. I think had I not, and I have just bust through the process, I would have been shocked that, yeah, it's not low hanging, and kind of angry maybe that I've been fooled that no, it's not. No, there is a process, there are systems. And if we come to these sessions, we hear what is taking people further than us advanced to get where they are today, then yeah, it's going to take a little time. It's going to take something. So I've been here. If not in my car, I have here some type of presence.
I know. I catch you when you're in your car. I catch you, but we haven't had it. You haven't raised your hand for a moment.
I have my family member with me. I'm doing something I just don't want to be involved with. I say, okay, I'm going to have to do this, and you need to be quiet so I can listen.
I love it. I love it. Dedication, consistency. I love it. I love it.
Dedication. Yeah.
And I love, listening to you. Thank you for bringing your perspective of this idea. And Arlene even put here in the chat, easy for someone might be more difficult for someone else. So again, there's that perception, right? You had a specific perception coming in. What does this title mean to me? To me, it meant, easy. I'm just going to spin through this thing and it's all going to be launched. Okay, one moment. But low hanging could have many different meanings. And it could mean, really grasping because it's a relatively lower marked item. So you're pushing out a lot of these products and collecting on that. So that's like low hanging. You don't have to also invest in inventory, right? You're not spending thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars on that, or even on rent for that matter. Think about that. So low hanging, meaning easy to maintain. So it's just interesting, right? Because there are so many, and we can go on that. And I love how you also shared that by coming onto these meetings, and we're not about the how to, and we're about the mindset, how you were able to shift your perspective and realize these things about yourself. And I've witnessed your journey, Deborah. I've witnessed, when you had those kind of—
I'm still here. I'm very
when you had those, kind of roller coaster
yeah.
rides, put it that
Roller
way,
coaster, I have. Yeah,
and then it was up, 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 and yeah, and that's the
yeah,
beauty, right? Because we're always going to see that, not only in ourselves but in others and in nature and everywhere. We're going to see those. Here we were talking about weather right at the beginning of what better example on how the weather is just fluctuating up, low, down, up, high, and we all have to navigate through that, is the same thing inside of us. So it's a beautiful, beautiful share. Thank you for always having your hand up when it is the right time for you. So I appreciate that. I lowered your hand now. I don't know if you raised it again out of meaning to or not, but I did lower it. Scott, love to hear from you. I was wondering what you think about this. I was hoping you'd want to speak up on this. Where are you? Oh, I can't hear you. We can't hear you, Scott. Maybe you're still muted. I lowered your hand.
Here we
So
go.
now.
I'm here. I'm here.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
One
look
thing,
at
it reminds me of the way Elvis used to deal with the media when he was in his heyday. One thing that a lot of commentators said, that he was very reluctant to engage in reporters. This was one-on-one interaction. He tried to keep a distance. In his case, it was to, I think, create a sense of mystery as well. But also, I think he didn't want them to get too close, because reporters are typical of most people. Often they try and demonize or put down people and label them in a way that makes themselves boost themselves up. It's a seesaw thing. You raise your own self-esteem by putting someone else down. And I think he was very aware of that, and his handlers at that stage were very aware of that. That's why they never let the reporters get too close to him, because while he was a mystery to them as a person, then they didn't have anything they could use to put him down and, in a sense, demonize him. And I think that was a very interesting that he did that. And I think it worked for him, because that sense of mystery meant that no one could really catch onto something and demonize him. And I think that was interesting. But also, a part of that, the idea of perceiving, of sort of projecting out your perception, the way you perceive things, is being a reflection of yourself. I was listening the other day to a tape by Louise Hayes. She was talking about mirror work and how often it's very, very confronting when you do that. And that's because, I mean, you can have an absolute physical, visceral reaction to your own image. And that can put a lot of people off, because you are definitely projecting that some sort of self-loathing or some sort of low perception of yourself. You are judging yourself because you are accustomed to judging other people. But when that other person is you, it's coming back to you. And that's why sometimes mirror work is incredibly challenging for that reason, because you're still doing it. What you do to other people, you're doing to yourself. And that's why when you get to the point when you can do mirror work comfortably, it means you've changed, because your perception of yourself is better. So you can handle that external person now who is actually yourself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's a play on the idea, I think.
I love it, Scott. I love it. And I love Louise Hay. So she's awesome. And I did, many years back when my children were still small, and I had kind of kids back to back, and I was going through a lot, and I would notice my attitude in the mirror, what I would constantly say to myself, and to change that, to intentionally say good things about yourself every time you look in the mirror is profound work. And I recommend it to everyone. And I think it's really beautiful that you brought that to our attention. And it really can help you transform. And I love that you use that like as a reflection, because the mirror reflects ourselves back to ourselves. And it's just, what you are at, it's exactly that. So if you constantly look in the mirror and you're looking for all the quote unquote defects or things that you don't like, or whatever you're pointing out to yourself in the mirror when you're looking, versus talking to yourself like you're, a loved one, your child, your best friend. Wow, you look great today. Wow, look at you, you're beautiful. All these different languages that we can use, or ideas that I think people do not spend enough time doing. We're always looking for what doesn't look right, or what do I have on my face, or what came out there, like it's always that kind of search or way of looking at ourselves when we're in the mirror. And that is, you're 100% right. because it shows us, it is a reflection of what we're doing to others. Are we busy judging or not? And there was somebody else that also put in the quote here, Joan put in the quote about social media and how that is, how people are just, jotting out those. So it relates to what you're talking about with Elvis. And I heard that a lot, with famous people that share that, way back when, it was about that mystery, keeping yourself as a mystery or unattainable or not. Whereas we've kind of shifted now, and everybody's, they're putting themselves out there and in the front, and hey, I'm reachable, and here is what I do, and people are sharing, their daily lives and what they're doing and bringing you into their homes and stuff like that, which wasn't really the custom, let's say 20, 30 years ago or 40 years ago. So that was a great example. Thank you so much, Scott. Always love to hear what you have to say. Nadea, glad this stuck a chord with you here. Let's hear from you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I actually had a question regarding the information that you were talking about before, and I've heard this phrase a couple of times about, what you don't like in other people is it's hitting a nerve with you because it resonates with something that you're subconsciously, not liking about yourself. What do you think about the case where you have people in your life, say a boss or a caregiver or something like this, who has toxic behavior patterns, and they're hurting you emotionally, or hopefully not physically, but I guess that resonates as well, or that applies as well. How far do you think, and in what way does this phrase apply to those situations, or does it not at all?
No, this is a good one. And I actually was talking about that with a good friend of mine just recently. And I think that, first of all, there are situations where you need to remove yourself. You just need to know and need to make that choice. How do we know? That's where we're going to that's where I'm going to talk about, because first of all, we need to first do, that we call it the work, right? We need to first kind of get into ourselves and make sure that, because oftentimes we don't know. A lot of people here on the quote, they was like, oh, they're just unconscious. People they don't know. And so what are the triggers? What are your triggers, and how are you behaving? And what is it in this specific situation that is triggering you so much? However, there's a limit to that, because once you were mentioning even physical abuse. So physical abuse, of course, should not be tolerated no matter what. And you need to exit that situation, no matter if it costs you a job, or that the faith and the belief that that something else better is coming your way should be present there. And sometimes that's hard and you can't do it alone, but definitely there are places that can help you in that journey. If it is close to home or not, then, there are professionals that can help you on that journey, that will be there for you, that will guide you through that exit strategy. And sometimes, I've helped in women's shelters, sometimes that journey out is, extraordinary, hard to believe. They have to abandon everything and then hide because they're in danger. So there are places out there that can help you if that is the situation. There's always that light. There's always someone that is willing to extend their hand and help you forward. Okay, so now we can take it from that extreme of being in physical danger and not tolerating violence. Now let's take it into a family member. You said work. Work is, again, a place where we can make that choice. Not always is it an easy choice, right? We've all made a choice to create a better income for ourselves and create more avenues of income through the low-hanging system. And sometimes people feel like they have to stay in this job no matter what. Not always is that the case, but let's say in this specific example that you're giving, you want to keep the job, you want to stay. How can you tolerate this situation, or how can you transform it? And I'm going to speak in a general way where we're addressing a person that is open to hear what you have to say. And I do believe in confrontation to an extent, but like I said, lashing or pointing out people's defaults usually presents a trigger, and you can say how you're feeling in the moment, how they make you feel. What I find to be very helpful in work situations that you want to keep, that you want to withstand, that you have a good relationship with, and that you believe that there is something to salvage here, not one where all hope is lost and you don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. Focusing on the positive. focusing on the positive. So like if that person does something great and they interact with you in a positive way, wow, you saying it this way, or you really ignited some good feelings from me, or I'd like to, really makes me want to complete this assignment really well. Or, I really enjoyed working with you on this assignment. I really enjoyed our, versus just highlighting all of the negative. Now, that's not to say that there doesn't come a time where you say, you voicing your opinion in this way really makes me feel smaller, not great, not wanting to come to work, or not wanting to participate, or wanting to leave, or you can have those conversations. But there comes a time where if you made the decision to stay, and you've decided that it's in your best benefit, you're not going to be able to change that person by, constantly just projecting the negative onto them. You might be able to transform your relationship by seeing and acknowledging the positive. That's kind of how I see on that. And, if you take it into a family member, close family, it can be fathers, mothers, where you're not going to replace that. That's always going to be your mother. It's always going to be your father, always going to be your brother and your sister. Again, pulling away from anything that has to do with physical abuse and really toxic relationships where they're causing you to have, really a big distress in your life. Make that decision. Once you see that, you can make the decision to exit. But, if it's a father and a mother, I do believe that we need to respect our parents and sheer kindness on them. And oftentimes it's an understanding. Where are they coming from? What has shaped them into the people that they are today? And what are they carrying with them? And how perhaps, when they speak something out to you, we're adults, okay? We're not children anymore. So, we can choose to listen with selective hearing, and we can choose to understand where a person is coming from and say, okay, they are reflecting back on me. Let's say, a parent is constantly saying, oh, I'm what is it called? I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in you. Okay. So we can say, well, they're disappointed in me. I should never step foot in their house. But really, so maybe when you see this disappointment, then you understand that they're basically disappointed in themselves. It's a reflection of how they're feeling on themselves. And maybe that gives you that compassion towards that person. Again, if it's a valuable relationship that you want to, sustain, then you can find the compassion in your heart for them. And then you listen and you say, okay, this is not mine. They're reflecting on themselves. They're pushing that onto me. I hear you, and I choose to hold love for you. And maybe you point out all the great things that you feel like, or that they should be, excited about in your lifetime. Don't you think? I'm such a great mother. I'm such a great person. I've, done all these great things. Look at me. I've started a new business and it's going really, really great. Whatever it is, we can always find that the positive to reflect. And of course, someone's putting in, yes, there's always a line you can't let them cross. That's how I started off this answer. We have to differentiate. I'm never going to encourage anyone to stay in an abusive relationship or, any place where it is actually one of the first things that we do in the low-hanging system is say, remove yourself from toxic situations. Do not, don't stay, even if you're cutting people out of your life that you can cut out, do not tolerate any of that negative talk around you, because it will affect you. It will come into, will seep into you and into this business. So it was a long answer, but hopefully I answered it in a helpful way. Nadad, any comments on that?
No, I really enjoyed your thoughts. Thank you so much for your response. Very thoughtful.
Okay. And you understand that there are, even me speaking all of that, you need to make that decision when to, what is abusive, what is not tolerable, and what is, now I need to seek help and just get out, right? Do you understand that?
Oh, absolutely. And it's, I know there's probably an echo from my car radio. I know that there is, it's important to find out what you're dealing with, because feeling exasperated around a person all the time is not enough to make a decision. You kind of have to investigate, go on YouTube,
exactly.
Or read some psychology journals to figure out what is going on in this person's head and where are their boundaries. Do I need to leave, or can I deal with them?
Exactly, Nadad. And now if we can kind of not think about the extreme, because we all acknowledge that we're not talking about those extreme situations, but even when it's two individuals that reside together, live together, and you're in this situation, oftentimes we have these records that are on repeat, that are playing in our minds, we're not truly present in the moment to see and evaluate. So can we then separate ourselves from these repeated ideas that are just circulating on and on and on and over and over and over again in our mind, and be able to have really this reflection through this person? What is it about this person that keeps, triggering me or making me feel this specific way? What in myself can I, reflect on and really do the work there, or kind of see what now how I can transform myself to heal this environment, if you've chosen to heal it. And I do truly feel that when a relationship has, let's say, it's not worn itself out, but it's like, kind of reached its place of, that's it. There is an inner knowing on that. There is an inner kind of, okay, I've done all the things that I could do with this. This is not healthy for myself, for my family, whatever. And I'm choosing to exit at this moment. I know Eddie and Ron raised their hand, but I'd like to hear from Nadia if there was anything else that you wanted to say on that aspect.
Yeah, I just wanted to pop in there. I know you guys you were talking about moon cycles and being connected with the earth and all of that a couple of weeks ago. Back to the whole psychology of figuring out who you're dealing with and how you can work around them. That's why I super love the zodiac, the astrology for the personality type. To me, if you know their birthday, it's like
we lost
a low hanging, to use that phrase.
Right.
Oh no.
No, we got you now.
Okay. So that's all.
Yeah. If I can blame, I know I'm blaming again, that's the victim mode, but like, if I can blame a star or a planet for the things that are going on, I love it, because it's like, all right, this is happening because we know we're gonna overcome it, and tomorrow's gonna be a new day, or next month is gonna be another one. So I love it. Yeah, thanks, Nadia. Always wonderful to hear from you. Eddie, the marvelous Eddie, let's hear from you. Glad your hand is up.
Well, hello, everybody. Once again, you find one of these topics that, and this is top of the line here. It's something I learned in my spiritual walk that it takes, and is a work in progress all the time. You have to train yourself not to judge people, because we tend to do that, and our society is replete with that. Body shaming and all kinds of stuff, especially celebrities and all this. We just, well, and we even hear ourselves do it. Oh, who she thinks she is. Oh, look at him. He's always out there showing out. I mean, we get these fantastic Hollywood movies that take these kind of scenarios and make a lot of money off of them. The thing about judging people, and I've heard this from psychologists many times, yes, you're actually talking about something that's in you. Mm-hmm. And you're bothered by this person because why? I remember reading a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And that book was so moving to me because you have to learn when to stand your ground in a terse situation and when to back off. And see, you only learn that through experience. There's some times and there's something you have to say and you say it. And there's sometimes where you just shut your mouth and let that person just run their mouth. And you go about your business. I've learned this over the years. And then you start making a decision about what do you want to do with certain people in your life. There are some people you need to cut out your life. Mm. They're that toxic. And many times it's family. It could be a friend. I mean, think about the 4 topics they say never discuss: politics, religion, race, sex. And you discuss any one of those, and that's when somebody's hair started rising up. They turn into Godzilla. And I said, oh God, what did I say? I've actually lost friends for giving my opinions about things. Mm. And I just told one guy I've been knowing for a good 40 years. I say, wait a minute. Are you serious? Yeah, man, you. And then his wife berated me. So we're no longer friends. Now, that was his choice. That's fine. Once upon a time, that would have bothered me. But after you start maturing and realizing, no, if you can't be who you are around people, you don't need those people around you. Because that's the crux of life. Who are you and what are you contributing to society through your shine? And when people get bothered by that, that's their problem. And it takes a while for you to get a grip on that. But I really learned something. When you really just be who you are and learn how to just maneuver around through society, you will attract the kind of people you need in your life, and other ones will fade away in the darkness and whisper to everybody about you. Oh, look at him. Always got people around him. Oh, look at her. She's always, well, let them be jealous. That's a low end way of being jealous and envious of people. I would prefer to stay up in this area of peace and love and joy and happiness and just smile and go through life and be like Karen, just smile and wave her hand all the time. Because those are mannerisms, so we just go ahead and love ourselves for our uniqueness. Thank you for the conversation, and this is beautiful once again, Karen. Bring more of this. Have a great day.
Thank you, Eddie. Love to hear from you. It's the truth. I always talk. Look, I'm saying it, and I'm talking with my hands. I always talk with my hands. Can't get anything done without expressing that. It's the way it is.
I say that in love now.
I know. No, it's funny because of the comment before. So. No, it's beautiful. And you kind of talked about looking at others. There's that saying also, when you're pointing at someone, you've got all the other fingers pointing back at you, which is interesting, right? And oftentimes, we'll read these comments and they'll kind of be like a nudge in our ribs. You're like, what? But I am so just about this. Ron, you came back. Good. I thought we lost you. And so, being able to comprehend that not everyone is meant to walk this path together. And you know what, Eddie? Sometimes people come in and there's a time that you were supposed to spend together and have those experiences together. And then when that's dissolved or it reached its peak, then they leave, they exit your life, and it's okay. And sometimes it's an explosion and sometimes it's with peace and love, and that's okay. And just, really having that wisdom to see, to be able to acknowledge, what we really, what matters most to us and what we're not willing to give up. I think that's another important thing today, when we're evaluating relationships, is we have to know what we stand for, who we are, what we will not tolerate in our lifetime. And when we know that, when we know what's true to our core, these are our exercises. We've done it once, maybe we'll do it again, core values and setting goals and knowing what is that inner knowing, what will we not tolerate and not stand for. And then it's easy to make it's a little bit more, it's a little clearer to make the decisions that are pointing us in the direction of where we're headed. So Eddie, we always love to hear from you, and I'm really happy you spoke up and didn't make those comments of, and I was going to point out that we always want to hear from you, just so you know, and we are actually expecting and waiting for that. So just know that every time you come up. Ron, love to hear from you. I think it's the first time I would hear from you today. Yes? Let's see.
Hi. Yeah, sorry, Eddie. The computer.
Oh, did we lose Ron there?
No, I'm still here, but sometimes the computer will shuffle me off. So.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to say that it's not always true that when we react to someone, that it is a reflection of us. We have to realize that it's a mirror concept. And when we look in a mirror, we don't get it all.
Oh, we lost you there.
Yeah.
Ron, we lost you. I can't hear you. Well, we're almost at the top of the hour. It's a shame. I would love to hear what he has to say about the mirror, but maybe at the beginning of next conversation. It looks like we're right at the end of our, he is here. Ron, I see you're here. Oh, no, maybe we lost you. Yeah, it looks like we lost him again. All right, well, we do have, it's lucky for us, we meet up every day. So if there is more to be said on this topic, we can always revisit. And I want to just clarify, because Nadia had some questions. I am going to close out this session right now here, end the meeting. So that means your screen is going to go dark. It's going to go black. And then after this call, you're going to have people waiting to help you out. So if you come back into that same link, you will have assistance and people willing to help you out, students, us, our community, willing to help you navigate this low-hanging system and help you through. So if you are in search of that, please do come back on. And great to hear from all of you. I know this was a topic that kind of gets us in the sensitive areas, but I think it's a really great quote to contemplate. And I look forward to seeing you next week. It is John tomorrow with Fun Friday. So wear your funny hats, your funny clothes, have a joke, show your pets. Really wonderful to be here with all of you. Thank you all for joining and speaking up. I appreciate every opinion. Thank you so much.